Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. And we've got a bit of an interesting matchup here. I don't feel like you'll be seeing a ton of Perona in OP09, but my man Johnny here is rocking the Perona leader. And yeah, I'm actually super excited about doing the commentary for this game because it was a really, really fantastic one. And I actually start off with a super powerful starting hand. I get to play Law, and I find a couple of pieces here. I do end up picking up the Sangaro, unfortunately bottom decking one of my Gum Gum Giants, but as you can see, I mean, my hand is amazing. I have a Luffy Taro, 2 Zorojiros, and a Sangaro. We're just looking solid right now. I know that Zorojiro is more than likely just going to get KO'd by the Ryuma that was just picked up off the Otama, but he is able to play out another Otama, picking up a second Ryuma. But good for me, I do end up finding the other Luffy Taro that I was trying to look for. I used my leader effect to go ahead and draw a Sanji, but I'll play out Zorojiro. Not really looking for Luffy Taro here, but I have a couple options here. I end up picking up another Sangaro because I know that getting rid of 5 costs isn't going to be like the hardest thing in the world for him, but I really want to have that card stick if possible. And now he does rest my Zorojiro with the leader effect. I go ahead and use one of the Sanjis for, you know, just some counter power here. We're definitely going to use my leader effect to ramp one and now get that 7 cost down, playing out a Sangaro, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult for him. Not impossible, but just a little more difficult for him to remove with that Ryuma that I know that he has lurking in the hand. He could also just remove the Law, but he's going to swing 5 here. I'll give him a counter. A 6 here does feel pretty good for me to take. I'm super fine with that. And then he is going to use the You Could Be My Samurai, get a couple of card draw off of the Otamas just sitting on the board. Ice Age right here onto the Luffy Taro though is super nice, so he's able to see some really, you know, solid removal, you know, to start this game out. It doesn't really give me an inch here. I'm thinking about the order of how I want to do this based off of what my hand's looking like. I realize that I have to get rid of one of the Otamas at least. I just don't want him to continuously be able to hit me with why am I forgetting the name of it? You Could Be My Samurai. Yeah. He does give me a 2k counter though. I'm going to go ahead and swing into the Otama as well, but another Luffy Taro just feels fantastic here. I get a second Sangaro down, and I can protect this one pretty well based off of what is in my hand at the moment. I don't particularly want to have to use Gum Gum Giant, but it just kind of depends on like how all in he is trying to go for my life. Without having a 9 cost Linlin in hand, I don't feel super comfortable going to 0 here. But I feel pretty fine being able to go to 1. So he is just going to swing 5, I believe, at life here. I'm just considering whether I want to use the effect or not. But I just wanted to take a look at his trash, knowing what he was going to potentially play with Moria. He gets the Otama as well as a Borsalino down, finds a Momonosuke, adds that to hand, and now picking up Law is actually really helpful. I have so many different things that, you know, just make Law work, which is fantastic. I'm going to go 6, though, get a little card draw going. I do end up finding that other Gum Gum Giant, which is extremely useful while I'm in a 1 life situation, as well as not having 9 cost Mom. I continuously get to draw, which is why just keeping these cards on the board is so important. I'll go ahead and swing into one of the Ryumas though, and now I'll go ahead and I kind of realized that I did this a little bit backwards, you know, because he could have gotten a pretty free block there with the Borsalino. I should have started with the Law swing, but I'm heavily considering, you know, dropping down. Oh, actually, no, excuse me. I thought I had... No, I actually can't do that. I was going to say dropping down the 9 cost, but I'm just going to go 8 into Ryuma, and now I can play down a blocker and feel like pretty good about it. I will just go ahead and do 4 for the Onami. I don't think I need another Luffy Taro, but I get to cycle out some cards, draw into 2 new ones. So I've got 2 of the 9 cost Luffy's sitting in hand, looking pretty. I've got 9 Dawn on the field, so using a giant this turn doesn't feel horrible, but it also doesn't feel amazing. So if he does decide to go for life, I can defend myself. I know Onami is really just there to cycle out cards because he can rest it with the leader effect. I'm not super concerned about, you know, him being able to close out the game here as much as I am really just me trying to find all the pieces that I need. These Sangaros are just giving me a ton of value, so I'm more than happy to kind of let them just keep doing their thing. He is going to swing 9. I'm just going to go ahead and block that because I know that that card would have been rested anyways. He could do the -1 with the leader effect and then play out another 8 cost Moria, which would be pretty tricky. An 8 cost Moria is fairly strong into, you know, what my board is looking like right now. It also gets him, like, nets him a card as well if he's able to have either another You Could Be My Samurai or potentially just the Otama out of trash. I believe he goes 8 into one of the Sangaros. I do want to protect this just because I know that I can get a ton of card draw out of it. I have 2 of the 9 cost Luffy's. I don't believe that I need it, so I will go ahead and protect it though. Finding a 2k off that is super solid. And he goes and hits me with an Otama on, or excuse me, a Suru onto one of the Sangaros and leader effect on the other, and then hits me with Krieg. I was not expecting Krieg, truth be told. That, you know, that's the punishment for me playing this matchup with kind of not remembering exactly what cards this deck uses. But I'm able to get back to 9 Dawn. I can swing 5 fairly comfortably because he's only got 2 in hand. If he blocks with the Borsellino, it's basically an open invitation for me to be able to go into the Moria with my Luffy Taro. But he does not do that, just decides to go down to Krieg. I was just making sure if it had any more tricky effects that I couldn't remember, but it does have the double attack, which isn't extremely relevant with, you know, the current situation that we have right now. It does force my hand if I wanted to 9-mom. It doesn't really work because now I'm just kind of putting myself within range of that. But I'm going to go 9 here. I believe this was at life, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And so he does decide to take going down to 1. And so I do something a little tricky here. Is that I play... No, I think this is the following turn. I do something a little tricky. But I decided to just play Kid, and then I just pass. Yeah. I've got 3 Dawn active. I've got plenty of counter in hand, as well as the giants to get me out of, you know, potential situations. He is going to go ahead and KO the Eustace Kid right here. And I actually think I missed what it was that he exactly used, but it might have just been like a finger pistol or something. I actually think it was, because he's now down 4 Dawn exactly and had a trash 2 from the top of the deck, which coincidentally happened to be 2 Ice Ages, which is very good for us. Now this 9k swing at life, I am just going to go ahead and use one of my giants. I do subtract the 2 Dawn here. I wanted to filter through and see if I could find some other pieces that were you know, more helpful for me. And lucky for me, I end up finding 2 2Ks. So I get out of that 8K, or I believe it was an 8K swing. And now, or maybe it was a 9K. I think I might have needed to counter 1 more right there. I'm not quite certain. But yeah, this turn was the turn that I was really sitting here like, all right, he's actually in a really solid spot. He plays down a Borsellino as well, so he's got 2 of those to keep himself pretty protected. I have plenty of counter, which is fantastic, but like I can't just put down one of these big bodies and try and go for game. I don't have enough swings. He's got enough blockers to stay pretty healthy. It takes me a second to like find the potential route, but I do end up eventually seeing it. So I'm just gonna go 5 to life. This isn't really meant to be, you know, any sort of threat. I'm just going 5. It's a very easy block if he wants to, because he's got 2, but he does realize the potential threat of like Usohachi, so he does give me a 1k counter, which I think is super fair. I could have potentially just went Usohachi, swing with Luffy Taro, and Law. So the 5 was just kind of a check on his knowledge of some of these cards. And now I know that he's not really swimming with like a lot of counter in hand. It's because I got a free block out of that 8k swing into Krieg right there. And I finally recognized what I need to do. I'm at 9 Dawn currently, so I use Law. It doesn't remove any cards from his board, but it puts me at 2 Dawn less than my opponent, which now I'm at 8 on the board, so Sanji becomes a 3 cost. So it allows me to develop 2 blockers onto the board, one of which he's going to have to use his leader effect for, and that's basically what I was thinking about the whole time, was how do I get around, you know, him just using the leader effect if I play like Robin and Law or something like that. So Sanji makes it a little more difficult for him to use that. He obviously can just use it on my 4-cost blocker Law, but if he doesn't end the game, then more than likely I'm able to win on the clapback. So he is going to go ahead and tap the Law using leader effect. He does hit me with an X-Drake onto the Law. I don't hate it, but at the same time, I do think that it's, I don't know. I do think that it's, he just wanted to get some card draw with the You Can Be My Samurai. It feels like he's playing a little defensively here. That 5 Dawn maybe could have been used to try and go for game. And I don't know, potentially missed opportunity. He does swing 7 with the Krieg, still leaving himself with 4 Dawn if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so 4 Dawn still left to play with, so I can expect like 2 9Ks to come at me here. If I give him a 2K and a 1K, it's fine, but I lose my Usohachi, so I decide to take the life there just to see what he would do. He does hit me with a 7k swing here, and now I'm starting to feel the pressure a little bit. I'm like, man, like I'm probably just gonna have to give him the Sanji and the Nico Robin and go for game with Usohachi the next turn. So it was very fortunate that we get that 2k counter out of life. Now he does swing 11. I take my time a little bit at the very end here because I'm considering blocking. And then that way I know that I guaranteed have enough, but I also could kind of risk it and use the Gum Gum Giant and the 2k and hopefully draw into a 1k. But it is a bit tricky, and I'm definitely thinking that, but that's why I decide to, I believe I decide to block and get the guaranteed counter out of it with Gum Gum Giant and Usohachi. I just wanted to see if he would, you know, swing with the Borsalino as well, and I was like kind of gambling on the fact that he either wouldn't or that I would draw a 1k counter. So I felt fairly comfortable doing that. I decide to, use the Gum Gum Giant here, bringing Sanji up to 10. I do end up drawing the 1k, and I mean, to boot, I end up drawing 2 1ks, so definitely helps me out. He's thinking, he's actually really considering swinging with the Borsalino, and I do end up giving him the 2k counter there, because he, you know, with 2 cards in hand, I genuinely don't blame him swinging with the Borsalino. But now we're able to just go 9, and I can attach the rest to lead, and we go for the game. Very, very close match there at the end. Obviously, drawing into another Usohachi was really solid in being able to get out of that Sanji swing. But I thought this was a fantastic game all around. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts, and I will catch y'all in the next one, all right? Peace.